So I've had the Claw 8 for a few months now, and I think it's time for me to do a review. So this is the box. It's a very colorful box, unlike the other handhelds. So yeah, very flashy. In the box you obviously get the MSI Claw 8 AI. You also get this cardboard thingy, which you can somehow it tells you the instructions here on how to make it a kickstand, but I don't really use that. You get the quick guide and a startup guide, which I never use. You also get 65-watt charger. Now the cable is not as long as I would like it to, but it's good enough. The MSI Claw 8 AI Plus is a Windows 11 handheld with the Intel Core Ultra 7 258V processor, 32 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM with 8533 MHz, 1 terabyte of M.2 2230 SSD, 8-inch 120Hz VRR 1080p display with up to 500 nits of brightness, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, cooler boost hyperflow cooling, and an 80 watt-hour battery capacity. You get the volume up and down, a 3.5mm headphone jack. You get the name Claw. I'm not sure you guys can see it. If I turn it around, there you go, it's right here. You get USB-C connection and another USB-C connection. I believe these are type 4, so really good. And you get a micro SD slot, and you have the power button over here, which is also a fingerprint scanner. You don't have any other ports, it's all at the top. The controls on the MSI Claw 8 AI are really good. You get full-size joysticks, which are Hall effect. You get really good full-size buttons, just like on the Xbox. You have your triggers, your Hall effect triggers here, and your shoulder buttons. Yeah, everything just feels really solid. This is really a good handheld if you're looking for like full-size joysticks and basically, Xbox style controller. You also get a really nice D-pad. Now there has been a lot of people saying that the D-pad is protruding quite a bit, which yes it is on the sides, but it's designed to use like for your thumb to be in the middle, and then you can just go like this instead of doing it on the side. So personally I really like the D-pad. It's very good for fighting games. I will be testing out Street Fighter 6 with this D-pad. So yeah, overall amazing controls. The only thing is the gyroscope. The gyro on this handheld is not really good compared to Steam Deck and Asus ROG Ally, which are so much better. So something they can work on. It is included in the software, but I've tried it and it's really bad. So I just hope MSI can fix this problem with the gyro. But other than that, amazing controls. You do get 2 extra buttons, M1 and M2 here, which if you hold can easily be pressed like this. So yeah, overall really good controls. The design and ergonomics on this device is really great. I really like the color that they've chosen. A lot of people are saying it's quite dull, but I really like it. In terms of comfort, it's quite comfortable actually, because it's a bigger device with an 8-inch display. It's, at least in my hands, because I've got bigger hands, it's actually quite comfortable. I have no problems with the comfort. Now when it comes to the Switch 2, the Claw 8 is definitely 10 times more comfortable than the Switch 2. The Switch 2 just doesn't feel good when you hold it like this. it's much better to just take the Joy-Cons off and use it like that, because in the hands, not very comfortable. But the Claw 8 just fits in perfectly. The right joystick, I would prefer it to have it here like the Steam Deck, but to be honest with you, it's not that bad. You can just hold it like this and you can reach everything else, so quite comfortable. I like the design. Everything feels really solid. This is a really solid device. I think it's gonna last people years and years without any problems. Everything is a Hall effect, joysticks and triggers. You also get 2 side buttons, very easily pressed. The buttons do make a bit of noise. I hope they can make it quieter, because I really hate the clicky sound, but some people prefer this. Very nice smooth joysticks. The D-pad is really nice, and I think it's quite accurate. I'll be testing it out later. Shoulder buttons are really nice. Yeah, everything is absolutely amazing when it comes to the controls, the design and the ergonomics. The software on the MSI Claw 8 is not the best. In fact, it's probably the worst. They have made a lot of improvements since launch. It's much more responsive now. It doesn't crash as much, but it's one of the worst. So for example, they have 2 dedicated buttons. This one on the left opens up MSI Center M, and you can press it back to go back to desktop, and on the right here, this one opens up the overlay. Now this overlay sometimes, especially when you're playing a game, doesn't load, and when it does, sometimes it doesn't work. Even now there's a lot of problems with this. However, it is nice of them to include this, as it does make things easier. So you can control the brightness, you can control the volume, you have your TDP settings here. So you have AI, which I don't recommend anyone to use. You have endurance if you really care about battery life and you just want 30 FPS. And you have manual, which I think everyone should use. And sometimes the manual mode doesn't really work, and sometimes it does. So they really need to make sure that it always works, because sometimes you just get stuck like this. Let me get rid of it. Oh, okay. You can control the control scheme here. So now it's desktop, and I can use the left joystick as a mouse, and actually it's pretty responsive, not bad. If I go back to the overlay, I'll turn this back into gamepad mode. You can bring the keyboard here. I don't really use it that way. I can just click on here, and yeah, you have so many different options here. Now this is a useful feature. You can control the overlay, the FPS overlay through here, so you get the square, and you also get the ones like one line at the top. You can control the refresh rate and the RGB lights. Now if I open up MSI Center M, now this software I never really use, because it's just very sluggish, very choppy. It's very slow and unresponsive. You're just much better off using Steam Big Picture mode. But you do get some options here, and this is very important to, when you first get the device, to update it through here. So if you go to update and then scan, it will go ahead and scan everything. And I've already updated everything, so you can do the updates through here. And you can also control the TDP here. And if you go to control mode, you can control and change a lot of things here, like the sticks, the dead zones, and the gyro. Now I've tried the gyro and it's one of the worst, so definitely they need to make improvements and make it as good as the Steam Deck OLED and the Asus ROG Ally X. But yeah, that's about it for the software. Not really the best. Definitely improvements need to be made, but at least we do get some options. The speakers on the MSI Claw 8 is probably the best speakers you can get on any handheld right now. It's 2 watts dual speakers with high resolution audio, and I'm just going to show you a sample of how amazingly great they sound.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through.
The screen on the MSI Claw 8 is a 8-inch LCD with VRR and up to around 500 nits of brightness. Now, I have used screens much better than this, such as the Asus ROG Ally, and also, well, especially the Steam Deck OLED, which has probably the best screen on any handheld. There are also other screens I've used with OLED, such as the One X Fly F1 Pro. Unfortunately, out of all of those handhelds, this is one of the worst screens. It's not as sharp and it's not as colorful as the other screens, including the Asus ROG Ally, which also has an LCD, VRR, and 120 Hz screen. So same brightness, same type of panel, LCD, also 120 Hz, and yet it seems brighter and sharper than this. So MSI should definitely work on getting better screens for their next handheld. But let me just show you what it looks like. I don't think you will be able to notice a difference between the ROG Ally and the MSI Claw 8 unless you are holding them side by side. But personally, when I started playing on the MSI Claw 8, I could see that the games were just not as sharp as the ROG Ally. Now I have done a comparison. The ROG Ally is so much brighter and sharper, and the colors just look so much better. So as you can see, the pink is so much better in this ROG Ally as compared to the Claw 8. Yeah guys, that's something I was really surprised about when I used the Claw 8 next to the ROG Ally. So the screen they've used here, I think, is one of the best LCD panels. Now let me increase the brightness from minimum all the way to maximum. So it's not a bad screen, but it's just, in my opinion, not as good as it could have been, because the 7-inch ROG Ally is sharper and brighter with better colors, and of course the Steam Deck OLED and the F1 Pro OLED are OLED screens, you know, so much better image quality. But it's good for what it is, but I'm just used to much higher quality, so I just hope MSI can, you know, step up their game. So in terms of the viewing angles, it's not that bad actually, it's pretty good. I mean, if you're thinking of buying this device, don't worry about the screen quality too much, because you're probably not going to notice it unless you're comparing this with other handhelds side by side. It's really good for what it is. But just to let you know, if you're very nitpicky, you may notice it's not as sharp. So I'm currently running Black Myth Wukong, the benchmark tool, and this is at 15 watts, and as you can see, at 15 watts with frame generation on, we get about 70 FPS, and it's just about to finish. So let's have a look at the average. So average of 72 FPS, maximum of 86. So as you can see, we are using 800p. So 800p with everything on low, and frame generation is off, and ray tracing is also off. So at just 15 watts, 72 FPS, this is great. You know, this is really good. It's actually playable, and you get a lot of battery life with this. It's using 25 total watts, so you're getting close to 3.5 hours of gameplay with this, which is great. At 25 watts, it looks like we are getting over 90 FPS with the same settings. Now I'm just going to turn the volume down so you can hear the fan noise. It's not as loud as other handhelds, so that's pretty good. Well, actually, let me turn the microphone really close to the fan. So not bad at all, actually. Not that loud, especially when you have the volume up, so you can't really hear the fan anyway. So very good when it comes to the fan noise on the Claw 8. Total watts used is about 37 watts. So 80 watt hour battery, 80 watt hour capacity. 80 divided by 37, you're probably going to get around 2.5 hours of battery life with this. So we have 87 average FPS at 25 watts with a maximum of 101, which is very nice. 800p, everything the same as before. Yeah, 25 watts, average 87. Very good performance on the MSI Claw 8. So now I'm running Resident Evil 4, the remake, which is one of the hardest Resident Evil games ever made. The hardest to run in terms of performance. So let's see how this game runs on the MSI Claw 8. So currently it's at 25 watts. Let's see what it looks like. Oh wow, that's pretty good performance. We are getting 70s, high 70s, even jumping into the 100s for a bit, and now high 80s going into the 90s. So, and it looks quite smooth as well. Looks really good on this 8-inch LCD. 25 watts. Now I'm going to reduce the watts to 15 to see what happens. So 15 watts on the PL1, and as recommended by MSI, to do one more on the PL2, so at 16. And 15 watts, we get about, well, jumping anywhere from about 50s, high 50s to 60s, mid 60s, even jumping into the 70s and even the 80s. So actually, if you wanted to save battery life, you can play it at 15 watts, which is nuts. I mean, this is a very hard to run game, so to see even going into the 90s at 15 watts, I don't think you can get better performance currently on any other handheld. So yeah, really good performance. Battery life at 15 watts, so about 25 watts total. 80 divided, looks like my battery life is low, so battery life is 80 watts divided by 25. You get about 2.5-3 hours of battery life running it like this, so that's pretty good. I'm now running Star Wars Outlaws on the MSI Claw 8, so let me check the settings. It's running at 800p with FSR 3 and frame generation on, with upscaler on performance. So let's see what it looks like with frame generation on at 15 watts. So at 15 watts you get around 50 FPS. Now I don't recommend playing this game at 15 watts, although I guess you can play it this way if you're looking to save battery life. It's much better to increase the TDP to about 25, so let me go ahead and increase the TDP to 25. At 25 watts it's so much better and so much smoother. You get FPS in the 70s, mostly in the 70s, mid 70s. Looks very smooth and very sharp. You're getting total power around 38-39 watts, so basically you're getting around 2 hours of battery life running it at 25 watts. That's actually not bad considering how difficult this game is to run. So over 70 FPS with over 2 hours of battery life on a beautiful 8-inch screen. I mean, what more do you want? So I'm currently running Street Fighter 6 and I will be testing out the D-pad, but first let's see how the performance is in the World Tour mode, which is quite a difficult area to run in the game. So at 25 watts, let's see what the World Tour performs like. At 25 watts, I'm just going to show you guys the settings. So 720p with the settings, motion blur is off, and I'm using ultra high lighting quality with the highest texture quality, and everything else is either, well, I'm just going to increase the shader quality to high, shadow quality is normal, and everything else is high. I'll just turn sampling quality to high as well, and let's see what it performs like. So it's in the 50s. It's actually not bad. The input, there's no input lag. Yes, it's not a smooth locked 60 FPS, but it's pretty close. Not bad at all. So I'm just gonna decrease the TDP to 15 to see how much the frames change. and decreasing the TDP to 15, you get about 40 FPS. So, and even in going into the 30s, so noticeably choppier, but you can still get away playing like this. I mean, it's around 40 FPS, and this is VRR, so if you're looking to save battery life, this is definitely a good way to play. Now let's go into the fighting mode, or shall I say the fighting ground, and let's see what, how the D-pad is.
Next up, stage selection. The stage is set. It's time to select a character. Smart choice. Yo, ready? You ready? Then get the gate up. We're going in. Right here, right now, we're in for something special.
So at 15 watts, let's see what Street Fighter is like at 720p.
Fight just started. This is Tasty Steve on commentary. Rise the beta with the projectile.
As you can see, the D-pad is performing really nicely. I'm able to pull off all the moves very easily. Look, it works every time. So for those of you saying the D-pad is not good enough, I suggest you to give it a go before you, and look at the special move. I just did it on the first go. So the D-pad is really nice, much better than what people are saying. I actually really like it. It's one of the best I've ever used. There's a reason why MSI decided to use this design. They knew what they were doing. The reason why I lost is I'm focusing on the camera, but let me try and beat him this round. Oh wow, he's pretty strong actually. So yeah guys, the D-pad is amazing on this MSI Claw 8. You should definitely give it a go. It's one of the best. And the game is running at 60 FPS at 15 watts. And the GPU is used only 70%, so you can definitely decrease the watts even further. In fact, let me decrease the watts to see how low we can go if you're thinking of saving battery life. So at 13 watts, let's see what happens. So even at 13 watts we get about 60 FPS, so you are looking at about 3.5 to 4 hours of battery life if you play it like this, which is really good. I'm currently running Portal. Now I'm only running this game to test how low we can go with the TDP, so we can see the performance at the lower end of the TDP. So the TDP is currently at, let me show you guys, at the minimum, which is 8. So on the Claw you can go as low as 8, and let's see how it performs at the lowest. Now I'm running the game at 1080p, so So let's see how it performs at 1080p at the lowest TDP. So at 7 watts we are getting around 80 FPS, going into the 60s, going into the 80s. Yeah, it's actually quite smooth, and you can definitely play the game if you just want to have maximum battery life. Only using about 15 watts in total, so you can get about 5 hours of battery life with this, which is amazing. I mean, it looks pretty amazing. The game is at 1080p on the highest settings. If you want to have even more battery life, you can probably like make it 720p in the settings, because currently it's running at 1080p. But to be honest with you, 1080p at 7 watts is not bad. Now let me increase the TDP because I want to get 120 FPS, which is the max refresh rate for this console. At 120 Hz you should get extremely smooth gameplay. So now it's at 11 watts, and let's see what it looks like. At 11 watts it's so much smoother. I can feel the game so much more responsive and so much more smoother. We're not getting the full 120 FPS, but it's pretty close. So let me increase the TDP to about 13. So let me see what the TDP is like. So at 13 watts can we get 120 FPS? It looks like, oh yes, we're getting 13 watts, but it's still not 120 FPS. That's really strange. I was expecting a lot more. So maybe it's not utilizing the full TDP. Let's go ahead and increase the watts to 15. At 15 watts, actually yeah, so around 12 to 13 watts we are getting 120 FPS now. So it's almost like a locked 120 FPS, and it's incredibly smooth, very responsive. So yeah, definitely a very optimized chip they have on the MSI Claw 8. Is the MSI Claw 8 AI pocketable? Let's see. So I've got really big pockets here, and unfortunately this is not going to work. I also have really big pockets here, but is it going to fit? Let's see. So no, this is not going to work. The MSI Claw 8 has an 80 watt-hour capacity of battery. So at the moment I'm running a game, Street Fighter 6, at the lowest TDP of 8 watts, and as you can see from the total power used right here, it's about 15 watts. So running the MSI Claw 8 at the lowest TDP, you get a total power usage of about 15 watts. Now 80 divided by 15, so at the lowest TDP you're going to get 5.3 hours of battery life. So I'm just going to increase the TDP now to 15. So at 15 watts, let's see how much power the MSI Claw 8 AI uses. At 15 watts, the MSI Claw 8 uses about 26 watts total. Well, it's now using 25, so about 25 to 26. I'm just going to use 25 to measure the battery life. So 80 divided by 25. and at 15 watts you get 3.2 hours of battery life. Now what happens if I increase the TDP to 25 watts? At 25 watts the MSI Claw 8 is using about 39 watts, 40 watts, 37 watts. So let's just move around for a bit. So it's using about anywhere from around 36 to 40. So I'm just going to use 37 for the measurement. So 80 divided by 37. So at the 25, well, it's not the highest TDP, but I don't recommend you guys to go over 25 watts. So at 25 watts you get 2.16 hours of battery life. So over 2 hours of battery life at 25 watts. That's one of the best handhelds in terms of battery life that you can get in 2025. The cooling on the MSI Claw 8 AI is among the best I've ever seen. This handheld just doesn't overheat at all, no matter how hard you push it. So right now I'm running Street Fighter 6 at 25 watts and it's using total system power of 39 watts. So if you're running the game at this TDP, you know this should be the highest TDP you should use for any game. So with such high TDP and such high total power used, the temperatures are surprisingly good. So let me get the software up to show the temperature, because in the software overlay it doesn't actually show you the temperatures. So using another software called Core Temp, as you guys can see, the temperatures are around 63-65 degrees Celsius, which is crazy good. I mean, that is amazing. Even at 25 watts the temperatures only go up to about 65 degrees Celsius. That's absolutely amazing. Now what do the fans sound like at this temperature? So I'm just going to get the microphone, and this is what it sounds like. Now it's barely audible, like it's not loud at all, so the fan noise is amazing. Okay, so now I am going to decrease the watts from 25. Actually, just to check the temperatures and the fan noise, I'm going to increase the watts to the maximum. So 30 for the PL1 and 37 for the PL2, just to see what kind of temperatures we get. So now it's using the max CPU power of 30 watts with a total system power of 44 watts. So let me run around for a bit. And let's just check the temperatures now. So at the highest TDP, running it at full power, it only goes to about 70 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely amazing. So what happens if I drop down the TDP to 25 watts? I mean 15 watts. At 15 watts, I'm just going to give it a few seconds for the temperatures to go down. I can hear the fan noise going lower and lower. So now let's see how low the temperatures have gone. The temperatures have gone down to about 50 degrees Celsius, 55 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely amazing. That's very, very quiet for a handheld. I mean, very, very cool for a handheld. The fan noise is also much less. It's barely audible. So yeah, the temperatures and the cooling and the fan noise on this device, it's amazing. It's one of the best in the market right now. So what do I think of the MSI Claw 8 AI in 2025? I think this is one of the best handhelds you can get in 2025. It has a beautiful 8-inch VRR 120Hz screen. The controls are Hall effect and one of the best I've used. The D-pad is also one of the best. All the buttons feel really nice. I really like the RGB lights around the sticks and even on the buttons, which I've never seen before, which is really nice. It's a really well built device, feels really solid. This is the kind of device that's going to last you for many years without any problems. I really like the design of the device. The back is also really nice. You got nice big air vents over here for the cooling. The cooling is another thing that's really amazing on this device. This device will never get too hot even at the highest TDP. The fan noise is also really good. It's not as loud as some other smaller handhelds. So amazing fan noise, amazing cooling, amazing controls. The screen is not the best. ROG Ally X, Steam Deck OLED and F1 Pro OLED all have much better screens, but unless you're comparing them side by side, you're not going to notice that much of a difference. The only other negative thing I can think about is the MSI Center software and the overlay. Very buggy even after the updates, so let's hope they can fix that. But other than that, an amazing handheld, one of the best in the market. So the MSI Claw 8 AI gets a 9.3 out of 10. If you're looking for one of the best battery lives and the best controls along with the best performance, then this is the device to get in 2025. Anyways guys, thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.